Hi friends, we are finally back with some videos. So I know school is back in session and you guys aren't on campus Wednesdays. Actually, pretty much no kids are, just teachers. So I figured that would be the perfect day to put out some YouTube videos. So I have today how to draw Christmas Mickey Mouse. And you're going to say, oh, Miss Natasha, you skipped over Thanksgiving. Heck, yes, I did. Christmas time is where it's at. Everybody's so nice. Everybody's so happy. I love hot cocoa. I love the Christmas tree lights. I love everything about it. So I'm going to pretend it is Christmas now. It's close enough. All right, so I'm going to get out my piece of paper and a pencil. So Mickey Mouse is a lot of shapes and kind of making sure they're symmetrical, kind of the same size. So first we're going to start with his eyes. We're going to make two ovals right next to each other. So I'm going to find the middle of my page, and I'm going to make two long ovals. And I'm going to do it fairly light because you never know when you're going to need to erase. So I have one oval, and I'm going to draw the next one pretty close to it, but I'm going to leave a little bit of space. And I want to make sure they're about the same size. If they're not, that's alright, but you want to get them pretty close. Alright, so mine are pretty close. So I'm going to probably clean up the lines in there, and we're going to draw two little half circles for the pupils right in there. So I'll clean up all my scribbly lines that I made. And then I'm going to draw two circles at the bottom. So it should look something like that. And those two small circles you drew, we're going to color those in black. So I'm just going to quickly color mine in, and you guys can do the same. So for anyone who has been to Disneyland, or who hasn't even, they are building a Spider-Man ride in Disneyland, and I'm so excited for it. I love Spider-Man. I mean, I don't know when I'm going to ever get to go to Disneyland again, but it is definitely on my mind. Alright, so now that I have those colored in, we're going to draw the little line under his nose. So we're going to draw just a little line under his nose. And that's going to kind of be our marker for where the middle of his face is at. Alright, so I have a little line under there. And then we're going to draw his nose. So his nose is going to be pretty much a sideways oval. So it's just going to be really rounded. So just go ahead and draw a small, rounded oval. It's kind of like the beginning of Pluto's face. See, it kind of looks like Pluto. So I have my sideways oval, and then on the inside I'm going to draw the same thing but smaller, and that's going to be kind of like a highlight mark. So then everything except that little tiny oval will be colored in black. So I'll color that in quickly. And all the other parts on Mickey Mouse's face that are black, I'm not going to color in right now because that takes too much time. But I will definitely show you guys which ones to color in. And I'll darken up mine so you can see it a little bit better. Alright, so far we have his eyes and his nose. So next is his mouth, his happy-go-lucky grin. So we're going to start with his, what would you call, maybe his like smile lines. See how my cheeks go up like that? So we're gonna draw his right to the left and right to the right of that line for his nose. See? Right to the left, draw a little curved line. Right to the right, draw a little curved line. And all we're gonna do is just make a big smile and connect it. So bring a line down on the left, bring a line down right on the right, and we're just gonna connect them. Perfect. So it should look something like that. So we could leave him like that, or we could open his mouth. I'm gonna have his mouth open because Mickey Mouse generally kind of has that very happy facial expression. All right, so all we're gonna do is kind of find the middle of the bottom of his lip, and we're just gonna kind of draw like it's open. So to the left and to the right, and then all I'm gonna do is connect them. Just like that. And on the inside, we're gonna draw his tongue. So his tongue is just gonna be one curve coming down. So one curve coming down, and then we're gonna draw one coming off that. See? And all that space around his tongue will be colored in black. So I'll quickly color that in, and you guys can do the same. So I can do a pretty good Mickey Mouse impression, but in order for me to do it, you have to come find me on campus, and you have to ask me about it. So that means only the lucky few who watch this video will be able to know that I know how to do a pretty good Mickey Mouse impression. A couple kids from Miss Cronin's class, I believe, have heard it before, and I fooled them. They thought it was Mickey Mouse. All right, so we have his eyes, his nose, his mouth. So now we're gonna go ahead and get into drawing his cheeks. So coming up by the left side of his eye, we are going to draw a line on the left and a line on the right. And they are curved. They're not straight. So see how it's slightly curved, slightly curved. And then we are going to just continue to follow that all the way around. So I'm just kind of make it come around on his left side, and I'm going to stop at his mouth. So see how I just followed it around? I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to stop at his mouth. We want to make sure we stop at the same points as this side. So I'm going to come around and do the same thing. All right. I'll darken mine up so you guys can see it. So now that we have his cheeks, all we're going to do is just draw that bottom lip. So we're just going to connect this side to this side. So we're just going to follow the lines we already have. But we don't want to make it too thick, because then he would have a huge bottom lip. So it'll be about like that. So we're going to leave a little, see how it hangs on each side? We're going to leave those, and we're going to connect it. Alright, so now we have part of the outline of his face. We can get into his actual head. So from the cheek lines that we drew, I'm just gonna come up and go around the eyes. And to make sure I make it symmetrical, I'm gonna go to the top of the eyes and I'm gonna make them curve. What I mean by that is I'm gonna draw a wide V at the top. See, I drew a wide V, and all that's gonna do is that's gonna come down and connect to that. Come down and connect. So that's what we will do. And I would say this part, aside from his ears, is probably the trickiest, just because you're trying to get everything to kind of match up the same width apart. And what's cool is once you know how to draw Mickey Mouse, you know how to draw Minnie Mouse. It's the exact same thing, except he doesn't have a bow. If he did, that would make him Minnie Mouse. Alright, so now he looks a little bit silly. But now all we have to do is just draw in 2 curves for his head. But before I do that, I'm going to draw the top of his Santa hat, so then I know how wide to make his head. So all I'm going to do is above his eyes, I'm just going to draw a sloped line, just like that. So a sloped line. Alright, so now that we have that, we know we can connect his head into there. So all I'm going to do is curve and curve. And then clean up some of my squiggles. Alright, so now we have his head. Now he looks really silly because he doesn't have his ears. So we're going to draw in the top of his Santa hat, that brim first, because his ears are going to be hiding behind it. We want to look like they're poking out. So on the left side, all I'm going to do is just make 3 little ridges. So coming off his head, 1, 2, 3. On the other side, I'm going to do the same thing, and then they will connect. Alright, so on the other side, I got 1, 2, 3. And then I'm just going to draw that same parallel line to connect it. Alright, so once we have that, so it kind of looks like he's wearing a sweatband almost. Then we can draw in his ears. So his ears are tricky. You might have to erase or you might get it perfect the first try, but they are almost pretty much perfect circles. So I'm on the left side of his head. I'm just going to try to draw a perfect almost circle. So I'm going to turn my page sideways. I'm going to do it really light. And try to draw one of his ears. Alright, so I drew a circle. I'm liking it. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to darken it. And from there, that's where we know his Santa hat will come off of. So I'm going to draw a little line. So if you guys want to try to do the same thing, draw an ear, erase it if you need to, clean up the lines, darken it. All right. So I have one, and now I'm going to try to draw the other. I'm going to draw the other at this same spot across from his head. So this one is going to be coming off, I'll show you. This one is going to be coming off the top of his Santa hat. So it's going to come around like that. See how this one's hiding behind it? This one's coming off the top of it. Alright, so I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to try to make that perfect circle. Alright, this one's close enough. So I'm just going to darken it. And clean up the lines. So we should have something that looks like that. So he's not quite Mickey Mouse yet. Alright, so let's draw on the top of the Santa hat. We drew that line, so we're just going to bring that line all the way over. And then, so once we have it about over the other ear, we're going to come in on that right side and draw a line coming up. And then another tiny line coming up. So it looks like kind of like a snowman's stick arm. Line coming up and a little line off it. This is going to be the crease of the Santa hat where it folds over. See, it folds over, it comes out over here. Alright, so once we have that, then we connect the Santa hat to his ear. So I connected it to his ear. And then I'm going to pretend it's coming out from behind it. So I'm going to draw 2 lines like that. Like they're getting ready to come to a point. And when they do, we're just going to connect them with a curved line. It's not going to be pointy. So what I mean by that, curved line like that. It's kind of like what we did with the snowman arm. And then we're going to make a piece of popcorn around it. So it's going to look like a popcorn ball. And this is going to be for the fluffy thing on the end of his Santa hat. There's no right or wrong way to do this. You can draw it as big as you want, as small as you want. A little popcorn ball on the end. Alright, and that's pretty much how to do it. So, here's a colored in version. Here's one we just drew. So for Mickey Mouse, his ears are black, and that space around his head, why he looks a little off, is because that is traditionally black as well. So there you have it. There is Santa Claus, Mickey Mouse. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and it's been so much fun seeing you on campus, and I can't wait to do more activities, more drawings, more readings. See you guys then.